Good morning, America. As the sun rises over a landscape blanketed in white, millions are waking up to a world transformed by winter's icy grip. The air is sharp, the streets are hushed, and the cold is more intense than anything we've felt so far this season. Today is Friday, February 6th, 2026. A date that will be remembered for the arrival of a truly historic Arctic blast. A massive Arctic outbreak is sweeping across the country, sending a surge of bone-chilling air from the far north, deep into the heart of the United States. This isn't just another cold snap. This is the coldest air of the season, and it's rewriting the record books as it moves. Over 100 million people are now in the path of this dangerous weather system. From bustling cities to quiet rural towns, everyone is feeling the impact as temperatures plunge and the wind howls. The deep freeze is here, with a massive dome of frigid air plunging south from the North Pole. This Arctic air mass is so powerful, it's pushing past the usual boundaries, reaching areas that rarely see such extreme cold. This is not your typical winter chill, it's life-threatening. Frostbite and hypothermia can set in within minutes, especially for those without proper shelter or warm clothing. Emergency services are already on high alert, responding to calls for help as the cold intensifies. The northeastern U.S. is the main target, with the Arctic air stretching from the Midwest all the way to the mid-Atlantic. Major cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. are bracing for a deep freeze, while smaller towns and rural communities prepare for the worst. Temperatures are plummeting to levels not seen in decades, and dozens of daily record lows are expected to be shattered. In some places, the mercury will drop well below zero, with wind chills, making it feel even colder. This cold air will linger for days, reinforced by waves of even colder air sweeping in from the north. Snow squalls and blustery winds will make travel dangerous and visibility poor, while the relentless cold tests the limits of infrastructure and endurance. High pressure is locking this brutal pattern in place, bringing not just dangerous cold, but also biting winds and frequent bursts of snow. Power outages are possible as ice and wind strain the grid, and even a short time outdoors can be hazardous. Schools and businesses may close, and your daily routine will need to adjust. Streets may be empty, playgrounds silent, and storefronts shuttered as communities hunker down and wait for the worst to pass. From the Great Lakes to Maine, the message is clear: prepare for the harshest conditions of the season. Road crews are working around the clock to keep highways clear, while families stock up on essentials and check in on neighbors. As this Arctic invasion unfolds, staying informed and prepared is more important than ever. Make sure you have emergency supplies, dress in layers, and keep your devices charged for weather updates. Let's dive into what you need to know to stay safe and get through this extraordinary cold together. The Northeast and New England are ground zero for this Arctic outbreak. Cities like Boston, Portland, and Burlington will see temperatures struggle to rise above zero. Nighttime lows will plunge into the negative teens and 20s, a level of cold not seen in years. The Mid-Atlantic and Appalachians will also feel the bite, with highs in New York City dropping to the low 20s. The Appalachian chain will funnel Arctic air south, bringing sub-zero temps to higher elevations. Dozens of cold records are at risk from Saturday through Monday. This is pure, unmodified Arctic air, essentially dropping northern Canada's climate onto the most populated part of the U.S. The deep freeze will last through the deep freeze wide the weekend, and into early next week, with no relief in sight. Nearly 5 days of dangerously cold temperatures will test everyone's endurance. Prepare for a sustained period of extreme winter weather. When winter storms strike, most people focus on the temperature, but that's only part of the story. The real, often underestimated threat is the wind chill, a silent, invisible danger that can turn an ordinary cold day into a life-threatening situation in minutes. In the interior, northeast and across New England, wind chills are expected to plunge to minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit or even lower. These are not just numbers, they represent a level of cold that can be dangerous, even deadly, for anyone caught unprepared. At these extreme wind chills, frostbite can set in on exposed skin in as little as 10 minutes. Hypothermia, a dangerous drop in body temperature, becomes a real risk for anyone outside for too long, especially if they're not dressed for the conditions. Even in major cities, where buildings offer some shelter, wind chills will drop into the single digits. If you're not properly dressed, just a short walk outside can be hazardous. The cold bites through clothing, and the wind makes it feel even worse. Powerful gusts, especially in the higher elevations of the Appalachians and the interior Northeast, could exceed 50 miles per hour. These winds don't just make it feel colder, they can create whiteout conditions, making travel dangerous or even impossible. Such intense winds can snap tree branches, bring down power lines, and cause scattered power outages. In these conditions, a simple loss of heat can quickly escalate into a true emergency, especially for those who are isolated or unable to leave their homes. That's why it's crucial to prepare ahead of time. Make sure you have plenty of blankets, sleeping bags, and a safe alternative heat source ready in case the power goes out. Stock up on food, water, and batteries, and keep your emergency kit within easy reach. Wind chill warnings aren't just about discomfort, they're about survival. When you see or hear these alerts, take them seriously. They're issued to protect lives, not just to warn about inconvenience. If you must go outside, limit your time as much as possible. Cover every inch of exposed skin, and dress in multiple layers to trap body heat. The right clothing can make all the difference between safety and danger. Hats, gloves, and scarves are more than just accessories. They're essential tools for protecting yourself from the cold. Don't leave home without them, and make sure they're dry and in good condition. Pay special attention to the most vulnerable: elderly people, young children, and pets. They lose heat faster and are at greater risk for frostbite and hypothermia. Check on neighbors and loved ones, and never leave pets outside in these conditions. The wind is a force multiplier for this Arctic air, turning a cold day into a dangerous one. Respect the warnings. Take precautions. And remember, in weather like this, preparation and awareness can save lives. The cold is bringing snow with it. Brief but intense snow squalls will hit as the Arctic air arrives, causing sudden whiteouts and dangerous driving. In the Great Lakes region, frigid air over warmer waters will trigger powerful lake-effect snow. Cities like Buffalo, Cleveland, and Syracuse could see 6 inches or more of fluffy, fast-accumulating snow. Travel will be treacherous in these snow belts through the weekend. Along the I-95 corridor, a fast-moving system will bring a fresh coating of snow, enough to make roads slick. The Winter Storm Severity Index shows significant impacts, factoring in wind, ice, and timing. Blowing and drifting snow will reduce visibility and could block rural roads. If you have travel plans, check the forecast constantly. It may be best to stay home. This is a complex, hazardous winter pattern. You've probably heard meteorologists and news anchors mention the term polar vortex, but what does it really mean, and why does it matter so much when winter weather turns extreme? The polar vortex is a massive, persistent area of low pressure and extremely cold air that forms high in the atmosphere, typically over the north and south poles. It's like a giant, invisible whirlpool of frigid air, spinning counterclockwise and usually kept in place by a powerful current of fast-moving air, called the jet stream. Most of the time, the jet stream acts as a barrier, trapping the coldest air near the poles and keeping it from spilling southward. This is why, even in winter, much of the United States and Europe are spared the true intensity of Arctic cold. But sometimes the jet stream weakens or becomes wavy, allowing a chunk of the polar vortex, known as a lobe, to break away and plunge much farther south than usual. When this happens, regions that are normally chilly can suddenly experience a dramatic drop in temperature, with Arctic air flooding into areas like the US Northeast, Midwest, or even parts of Europe and Asia. That's exactly what's happening now. A lobe of the polar vortex has detached and is delivering a blast of pure Arctic air to the northeast, sending temperatures plummeting and bringing heavy snow, biting winds, and dangerous wind chills. But what causes the jet stream to weaken in the first place? High above the Earth's surface, in the stratosphere, a phenomenon called sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, can occur. This event happens when temperatures in the stratosphere rise dramatically over just a few days, disrupting the stable, cold polar vortex below. This rapid warming acts like a shock to the system, weakening the vortex and making it unstable. As a result, the cold air that was once locked up tight can escape, often leading to major Arctic outbreaks and severe winter weather a few weeks later. Imagine the polar vortex as a spinning top. When it's stable, it spins smoothly in place. But when a sudden stratospheric warming event occurs, it's like someone has poked the top, causing it to wobble and tilt. This wobble opens the door for frigid air to spill southward, impacting millions of people. The current cold snap is being driven by a lobe of the lower vortex, but the recent SSW event suggests that this may just be the beginning. More cold air could be on the way, and the pattern could persist, bringing repeated waves of Arctic chill. The chaos we're seeing in the stratosphere is a preview of the potential chaos that could unfold on the ground: disrupted travel, power outages, and dangerous conditions for anyone exposed to the elements. Meteorologists are closely monitoring these developments, using advanced weather models and satellite data to predict how the polar vortex will behave in the coming weeks. The science points to a very active cold pattern for the rest of winter. Understanding the polar vortex and its unpredictable nature is key to preparing for what's ahead. So bundle up, stay informed, and keep an eye on the forecast as winter's chill continues to unfold. After this Arctic assault, there's good news. A temporary warming trend is on the way. By mid-February, the frigid high pressure will break down, letting milder air move into the central and eastern U.S. This warm-up is driven by the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or MJO, a tropical wave that promotes warmer weather here. For several days, highs could climb into the 40s or 50s, melting snow and ice. It will feel like an early spring, but this is only a brief reprieve. While the east warms, the west will deal with colder, stormier weather. The MJO's influence is temporary. The larger stratospheric pattern still points toward a return to winter. Enjoy the thaw while it lasts. The cold air isn't gone. It's just waiting for another chance to surge south. This is a classic split flow pattern. One side thaws, the other freezes. Don't get too comfortable. The mid-February thaw is only an intermission. The sudden stratospheric warming event is the real driver of the long-term forecast. As the MJO's warm influence fades, the door will reopen for Arctic air to return. The polar vortex has split, leaving a huge reservoir of cold over North America. Once the block breaks down, the jet stream will buckle, letting cold plunge south again. Long-range models show a return to below-average temperatures for late February and early March. The same regions hit now, northern, eastern, and northeastern US, are in the crosshairs. Expect more frequent shots of Arctic air and the potential for significant snowstorms. The upcoming thaw is just a break. Winter is reloading for another major push. Stay prepared for a volatile end to the season. Safety is the top priority. Here's how to protect yourself and your family. Dress in layers. Moisture-wicking base, insulating middle, windproof outer. Don't forget hats, gloves, scarves, and waterproof boots. Prepare your home. Check your heating. Keep space heaters safe. Let faucets drip. And open cabinets to prevent frozen pipes. Test smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Avoid travel if possible. Roads will be hazardous. If you must drive, keep your car winter ready and pack a survival kit. Blankets, warm clothes, flashlight, first aid kit, jumper cables, food, and water. If stranded, stay in your vehicle. Check on elderly neighbors and relatives and bring pets inside. Limit pets' time outdoors. Their paws can get frostbite too. A simple check-in can save lives. Take these precautions, and we'll get through this cold snap together. Here's the bottom line for the weeks ahead. The immediate future. A severe Arctic outbreak with extreme cold, dangerous wind chills, and hazardous snow through early next week. The peak, February 6th through 8th. Stay safe and limit outdoor time. Relief arrives mid-month with a brief thaw, thanks to the MJO. Enjoy the break, but don't let your guard down. The sudden stratospheric warming event signals a return to cold for late February and early March. Expect more cold snaps and winter storms as the pattern stays volatile. We're on a weather roller coaster. Deep freeze, quick thaw, then back to winter. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll keep you ahead of the storm. That's your outlook. Prepare for a wild end to winter.